going on, everybody? So, one movie I did watch pretty recently that came out, I believe, in 2021. It's called Jungle Cruise, made by Disney. And yeah, it stars The Rock and Emily Blunt, and even Paul Giamatti's in there. I did not even know that, but it's based pretty much off of a Disneyland ride called the same name, The Jungle Cruise. And basically, the skipper, the person driving the boat, kind of runs off a bunch of dad jokes, and you're kind of just having fun looking at random stuff happening, different stuff while you're on that ride. And just like most Disney rides into movies like a Pirates, you're like wondering how the heck are they going to make this a movie, but they did pretty well. I was pretty interested throughout most of the movie. I kind of liked it, especially because it reminded me of like the Mummy franchise a little bit, except more like the number 2 version, kind of like the same thing like National Treasure a little bit in there as well, but like kind of the second version, this number 2 of that franchise. So those aren't as great as the first one, the first movies in those franchises, in my opinion, but they're still enjoyable, just as this one was, even though it was kind of weird at times, because there was like a lot of times where it's like really crazy cuts, like every line of dialogue, you're like just looking back and forth at multiple cuts. So it's kind of like they probably rushed this and we're trying to do it a certain way, but overall it was still pretty enjoyable. I might watch it again at some point later in the future, but yeah, I don't know if it made a bunch of money because it was pretty early in that pandemic era, and who knows if it even went out into theaters at that time. But probably not going to get another sequel to this, which kind of sucks because I did enjoy it thoroughly. But either way, so check it out if you are interested. And I did see too that I didn't really even know that David Fincher was going to be the one pretty much head running the Squid Game American style version. And I think he's still going to do for Netflix. I'm pretty sure Netflix is still running it, but it's pretty much going to be American based actors pretty much doing the same exact show. But with David Fincher, it could be some pretty crazy stuff. Obviously, everybody knows him from like Gone Girl and what he did with Seven and certain movies like that, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So I'm sure he could do some pretty crazy stuff with that franchise. So looking forward to that. I think there was like a set photo released of that Freaky Friday sequel with both Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan reuniting again for that sequel, which is pretty cool. I'm not saying I was forced to watch that movie when I was a teenager, but my younger sister, Julianne, was the one that was more interested in watching that movie at the time, and ended up watching it and really enjoyed it. Obviously had even a couple of rock songs from some of my favorite bands in there, and it's a pretty funny movie too. I thought it was a good remake from the older style movie that came out in like the 60s or 70s. But either way, enjoyed that one. Hopefully this isn't just a nostalgia grab or a cash grab. Hopefully they do the work. I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis would have came back if it wasn't gonna be good, so hoping for the best. And I wanted to talk about a couple more things that I got to finish recently. One was a movie that came out earlier this year in 2024 called Monkey Man. It actually stars Dev Patel, but it's also directed by him as well. I believe this is his first time directing. I think most people know him from the movie Slumdog Millionaire, but he's been in a couple other good stuff, like Lion was a pretty good movie as well. But overall, this was a pretty fun and entertaining movie. At times a little bit slow, so it kind of lacked in pacing there, but not so surprised when it's always a director's first time, especially when it's an actor's first time directing. They kind of always let things go on a bit longer, kind of like Bradley Cooper. Like Star is Born is really good, but could have been better if it's less dragged on. Even a couple of his other movies as well. But yeah, overall, still enjoyed it pretty well. It's obviously very based on a Hindu type of filmmaking and style, but also in that John Wick-ish type of very graphic type of fighting, kind of using everything you can, not just guns as well, and kind of like fist fighting and all that. So the action is pretty good, but kind of wish there was a little bit more, in my opinion. But yeah, it's basically he's kind of getting revenge on basically like a high political power and this like main police chief out there in India, where they pretty much wronged his family and all the people that he used to live with, because in their town, I guess they took it over
and basically burned everybody out and evacuated everybody, and ended up even killing his mother right in front of him too, and he had to watch that crap happen. And so he basically has built up all this rage and anger to go after them once he's finally older and stuff. Kind of got into where they work, or their business of work, those main people, and then kind of goes after them a bit. But of course, there's all these bodyguards and all this crazy action. But either way, yeah, overall, it's a nice revenge story. Pretty good cultural type of movie overall, too, to check out if you haven't watched any type of Hindu or Muslim type of movies as well coming out of India. But pretty good Americanized modern version. It still has a lot of elements from there as well. So definitely check it out. And then, yes, finally, The Bear Season 3 premiered. I've been talking about it quite a bit, but pretty much was able to watch and binge watch all 10 episodes within 2 days. The first day was kind of like when it came out, watched about half of the season, and then a couple days after that, was able to watch the rest. And I can understand why a lot of people are saying they are a little bit up and down about this season and how they love handful of episodes, but then also considered some of the episodes like really filler, and the story doesn't really go anywhere because it kind of starts in one area where we kind of left off in the second season, and then after 10 episodes nothing really ends up happening or moving forward. It does move a little bit forward, but then it kind of does leave you off on a cliffhanger with to be continued, because apparently those rumors were true that they were filming some of the fourth season as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see when that does officially come out, because usually if they're already filming, and I don't think they have been filming as of late the past couple of months, but if they just go back and refinish the rest of it, it could be out by the end of this year, hopefully, in my opinion, but definitely at the beginning of next year officially, I think. But either way, I thought it was still really good. Still enjoyed all the characters. Yes, it wasn't as high intensity as some of the people were kind of used to, like the first chaoticness of those first 2 seasons, but I kind of understand because they kind of took their time and were developing something else. And plus, you could also blame like all the strikes in the industry, and kind of like they had to do what they were able to do. And yeah, they pretty much did rush it because they did start filming this at the end of February and finish pretty quickly. And to still get what we still got in these 10 episodes, I don't mind it. In my opinion, I still enjoyed myself. Yeah, where there are a couple of episodes or parts of episodes where you're kind of wondering, like, why are we seeing this? Or it's not really pushing something that seems important right now. But either way, I still enjoyed it. So definitely go check it out if you've been interested in that series, The Bear. And hopefully, like I said, that 4th season comes out really soon.